Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whatever Podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about cheating and all of the ideas around it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so let's start by defining what cheating is. A lot of, by popular opinion, cheating is, having sex with another person that's not your partner or the person that you're in a committed relationship with. But people also view cheating as talking to another person of the opposite sex, spending time with another person of the opposite sex, sharing feelings and emotions with another person of the opposite sex. A lot of people have different skewed views of what cheating is. And that can become problematic. We'll talk about how it becomes problematic in a minute, but I want to kind of touch on how my journey through how I define cheating evolved over time. So when I was younger, I always had a different view from everybody else on what it was. It was never a big deal for me. Partly because I think I always had an understanding of I don't own anybody. And other people's actions don't have anything to do with me. So if you want to cheat or whatever it is, disrespect or whatever, however people want to, define that situation, it never really was a big deal to me because I was always like, okay, well, whatever. There's this unspoken thing of, what's going to happen if you do. So if you're willing to take that risk, then that's on you. That's your prerogative, right? So to me, it was doing anything with another person that I would do with my partner. That's how my ideas of cheating started. And if you do that, there was no conversation that I had with, my partners at that time about it. It was just this unspoken thing of if you do anything with another person that you do with me, I'm going to consider it as cheating and I'm going to leave the relationship. There's no conversation to be had. There's no that's the end of it. Cheating means the end, period. Right? So then I got older and my thinking on it kind of evolved. It still is this not a means to an end, but it still is this big red flag to me that something is happening in the relationship that needs to be discussed. But the key operative word in that whole thing is there needs to be a discussion, right? So now my ideas around cheating are doing anything that we have already agreed, crossing a boundary that we've already sat down and said, hey, this is what I'll accept and this is what I won't accept. So if I say hey, I'm okay with you hanging out with people of the opposite sex, I just want to know about it. And then you go ahead and you do it and you didn't tell me. I'm going to consider that not necessarily as cheating, but that's going to be a violation. That's going to be a boundary that you cross. So now we need to have a discussion about it. And so over the years, as I've gotten older and I've experienced more things, I've kind of evolved in the way that I view cheating. Let's get back to this idea about, because the typical ideas around cheating, in my opinion, stem from ego and feeling like you own the other person or their actions somehow reflect on you in some type of way. And it's really rooted in embarrassment and shame. When somebody cheats on you, you feel embarrassed, especially if other people know about it. And somebody else obviously is going to know about it because the person that they cheated on you with obviously knows, right? So, well, maybe they don't, but, anyway, there's this idea, there's this idea in your head that, oh my God, not only did this person disrespect me or violate me, another person knows about it. They did it in front of somebody else or they did it with somebody else. And it feels like this betrayal and it feels like this terrible thing, right? And all of these emotions are around it. But I don't think that, and all of that is valid, right? All of that's fine. All of that is normal. All of that is expected. But I think the issue comes about when we don't understand that, one, all of that stuff is normal, and then two, how to navigate through that when we do feel those emotions. And so instead of reacting in a way that is productive, instead of reacting to that in a way that is productive, we default to the typical way that society has dealt with cheating throughout centuries, right? The typical way is, oh my God, this is a big dramatic thing. Oh my God, you cheated on me and the relationship is over and I have to talk about you to everybody, your family and everybody that wants to hear about it, right? And I don't think that that's necessary, even if a conversation was had beforehand where you stated your boundaries. But 9 times out of 10, in typical relationships, we're not even doing that first part. But then we have the nerve, quote unquote, to be upset when somebody cheats on us, when those boundaries haven't even been set. We can't rely on a unspoken standard. We can't rely on, you should know this. No, they shouldn't. Because like we established at the beginning, everybody's going to have a different view of what cheating is, what it means, what it looks like. And everybody's relationship is going to be different. Some people don't care. They don't care even if you have sex with somebody else. And that's like the main thing that people have a big issue with. But some relationships, some people don't, they have that type of relationship with their partner. And they don't consider that to be cheating. To me, like I said, if I've sat down and I've told you something that I don't feel comfortable with and then you go ahead and do it anyway, to me that's cheating. To me, that means that conversation needs to be had. Does it mean automatically the end of the relationship? In the past it did, but currently, I think I have more tools in my tool belt to be able to have a discussion about that. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean the end of the relationship. Now, if you continue to do it, like 1 time, okay, we have a conversation. 2 times, okay. Now there's a pattern, and that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Now, because from the beginning, it was a pattern, and there's a root cause to cheating. Why do people actually cheat? And there's so many ideas out there, because they can, because you made it easy, because you weren't this or that, because. At the end of the day, the real reason for why people are cheating is because something is missing within them. They feel like there is something that's missing. It's out of a lack mentality. There's something that needs to be fulfilled, a hole that needs to be filled within them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be daddy issues or mommy issues or anything like that. It could be anything from childhood. Any emotional thing that they were lacking in their childhood that they never resolved, they're going to look for that in a relationship. And men and women both do it. So it's not something that only men are predisposed to or only women. No, it's something that happens to both men and women. And so because that lack is there, we look for it in a partner. And then so that's where all of these, for a man's perspective, if you want to keep your woman, you got to provide for her, and you got to XYZ, and you got to buy her things, and you got to blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the day, you turn around and you do all of that stuff, and then she still cheats on you. Or the woman's perspective, to keep a man, you got to cook for him, and you got to give sex on demand, and you got to blah, 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 and this and that, right? And then you turn around and you do all of that, and he still cheats on you, right? So what's the cause for all of that? It's because there's something lacking within that person. Has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the way that we know that is because, again, you're doing all of these things that are supposedly supposed to keep them from cheating, but they still end up doing it. So that automatically tells you that that's a them problem. That's something within them that they're lacking, and they're trying to find that within you. And that's not going to work. We all know that does not work. Right? And, for a lot of us, it's a process to getting to that understanding that does not work. And that's actually what we're doing. That's the key too. A lot of us don't understand that that's actually what's happening. When you get into a relationship with somebody, you're not healed. You didn't take the time to get to know yourself, to heal past things. You're going to go into a relationship subconsciously looking to fill those voids in that person and in that relationship. And when it fails, which it will, at some point it's going to fail, and you're gonna realize this is not doing what it needs to do. This is not giving, right? It's not giving what it needs to be giving. You're gonna say, oh, you're gonna project, and you're gonna say, oh, it's the relationship, it's the person, and it's them, let me run from them and let me go to the next relationship. Well, guess what's gonna be waiting for you in the next relationship? That work that you didn't do, that trauma you didn't heal, those boundaries you didn't set, it's all gonna be waiting for you. And until you come to that realization, it's gonna be a constant, the grass is always greener mentality, and it's going to be a constant blaming and projecting onto the partner that you're in a relationship with. And I think when we first come to that realization, it kind of seems like, well, this person did this on purpose. How could they not know that this is what they were doing? We usually don't until we actually get to that point where we're honest with ourselves and we can say, you know what, that is what I was doing. I didn't take the time to heal myself. And now I'm looking for all of these things in this person when they can't be that for me. Now I'm being really unfair to them by expecting them to be, first of all, that's so unfair. Like, to expect somebody to fill a void within you that they weren't even present. They, one, didn't cause and weren't even present to when it happened. Like, we're talking about wounds that happened years ago. This person was nowhere to be found when this happened to you, but you're expecting them to feel it and help you heal through that. And that's fine, that's expected. That's actually what the purpose of relationships are. They are supposed to help you through that. But the way that we're going about doing it is not correct. This whole, oh, you have to be this, and you have to be that for me, and you have to be this for me, and you have to be that for me. That whole idea around it is not the way that we're going to help each other heal. We have to come at it from a perspective of, we're both healing. I'm not fully healed. Yes, I've done some work, but there's always more work to be done. And it's an infinite amount of work. Like, there's always going to be work to be done. Am I at a point now where I understand how to do that work with somebody else? Yeah. And then so there are levels to it. But to come from this high horse of, I'm healed and I need another person who's healed too. Because that's the flip side of it. Some of us are completely unaware that there's healing to be done. And then when we become aware that there's healing to be done, then there's this whole ego thing that we have to go through. There's this whole holier than thou idea that we come up with, right? And we do a little bit of work and we're like, well, I'm healed, so you can go over there with your, so that's a whole other journey that we have to go through the process. And then you get to a point where you're like, you know what? The whole point of relationships, this is what I've been craving this whole time. It's not to fill this void with this person. It's to find a way to collaborate with this person so that I can fill the void for myself and they can fill their own void. And we can help each other through that process. Like, maybe one day while we're filling our own voids, like, it just gets hard and you just need somebody to hold you. You just need somebody to watch Netflix and chill with you. Like, you just need somebody to be there to maybe even talk through it or whatever the case is. Like, that's the purpose of a relationship, to have somebody there who has your back while you're going through this process. Because some parts of it are just you. And then other parts of it are meant to be shared with another person. And then so that's kind of the angle that we have to kind of look at it from. Cheating is not it's not the problem. It's a symptom of something that's much deeper. And when we start having those conversations, then I think at the very least, our relationships will start getting a little bit better, right? So that's all I have for you guys. Wanted to keep this short and sweet. Next episode, we'll get into probably pet peeves. I think that's what I want to talk about next episode. So until then, be well.